My name is Sid. I have been diagnosed with multiple myeloma back in August, and I would like to say just a few words about my condition and what led me here and some things that are going on in my life. First of all, in August, which has been about 7 months ago, I was diagnosed and I started right in on chemotherapy. I didn't know anything about chemotherapy. I knew that it was pretty harsh drugs. I knew it was toxic, but I didn't until I experienced it myself. I didn't realize just how strong it was into our body. So I was there on a weekly basis, taking pills, taking shots, taking IVs, and I noticed that my general health was starting to go downhill. For about 2 to 3 months, I didn't get worried about it too much, but after about the third to fourth month, I noticed that my legs started tingling. I started getting bloated in the abdomen to the place where if I walked, I had to stop to get my breath. I felt like I had the flu about every day. I was really fortunate. I didn't have a lot of nausea, vomiting, and that kind of thing. But I had eye problems where my eyes would get watery and cry, and the eyelids would get kind of swollen and red. A lot of pain there. And so finally, and I guess I should say that brain, they call it brain fog, or I would get to where I couldn't remember things. In fact, I didn't even drive my car. My wife was my chauffeur. So finally, I guess in about the 5.5 months of this, I had finally realized that I'd had enough. And the bone marrow biopsy showed that the cancer was going down, that we were winning, and the doctor had recommended that I then go to Stanford Medical Center to have a bone marrow, not a bone marrow, but a blood stem transplant.
Stem cell.
And I didn't know what that was. I thought it was something you drive up there one day and come back the next. But my wife got to studying it. She had been doing a lot of studying anyway, and I had been taking quite a few supplements and had tried to eat good foods. But when she studied that, she realized this is for younger people, and also is very, 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 very brutal. And I thought, does not make sense. If my cell count is going down, why do they want me to go and do more? So I did not want to be reckless or irresponsible, but at the same time, I was not going to take any more of the chemotherapy. So I just stopped it. My wife called, canceled all appointments. I guess you could say I fired the doctors, but we just stopped. Now what do? Here we are, we don't have a doctor. I'm relying on my wife as she's doing the research. We have some good foods, and she was very good at that. Using the right kinds of foods that we thought, but we were just going by what we thought was right. And so she started searching for someone that could keep up with my blood count to make sure that I wasn't falling off a cliff somewhere. And lo and behold, she found out about Pacific Medical Center of Hope, I think it's called. And I'm sitting here right now in the place. And we didn't know what that was. Dr.Nezami is the doctor and the owner of the company, or the clinic. I don't know if it's a clinic, but it's a center. So she did some research on it, and my goodness, it sounded great, because he started talking about, well, I guess you could call it a holistic approach. It's a systematic approach to solving it. Like if you have a tumor, he's not just going to take the tumor out, but he's going to find out what caused the tumor. And in other words, find out what is causing the problem instead of just going after the symptoms. And boy, I like that. I thought, that makes sense. In my simple mind, that kind of makes sense. So my wife called, and we set up an appointment for a consultation. And after listening to Dr. Nezami talk, and he also looked at all my records, and he had an answer for me. And it wasn't like a shotgun approach where you just here, take all this stuff and everything's going to be just fine. But they did tests. They sent some of the tests to a German laboratory because there's not any here in the United States that could do that kind of work. They took saliva tests, PET scans that I had never had over at the other place. And my goodness, I got to thinking, these people are systematic about this. They're not just going about trying to just shoot, I guess you could say shoot in the dark. So we went ahead and started these treatments, and if you want to, I don't think they're treatments, they're IV. They're actually like taking food. And I have had very good response. The PET scan that we took last week showed no cancers. And we're very thankful for that. And now I'm going about to rebuild my body, trying to get my muscle tone back. If you could see a pre and a post of me before I started chemotherapy and afterwards, you'd see what I'm talking about, because it was detrimental to my body. And I really believe, for me, if I kept on it, I think eventually I would have died from it. And it wouldn't have been the cancer, it would have been the toxic medicines that I was taking. So I cannot tell other people what to do. It's not my business to do it. I'm not a doctor, but I know what I would do. And as far as I am concerned, and my family, I would never ever allow anyone in my family to take chemotherapy unless it was just absolutely necessary. So, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but if you're going to do it, just get a second opinion. Don't just run and jump just because someone in a white coat says, here, let's go here and start taking all this wonderful medicine. Don't do that. Get a second opinion. And I would recommend right here, Dr. Nezami would be the second opinion that I would go for. He'll be honest with you. And the little time that I have spent with him, he just came in just this morning and sat down and talked to me for a long time. And I will say this, the oncologist that worked with me, if I had 5 minutes with him, it had been a miracle. I never had much time to talk. Example of this, I was bloated, and I said, Doctor, what about this bloating? This is concerning me. I'm kind of getting scared about this. He said, oh, you're eating too much. And I said, goodness, how could I eat too much? My appetite was even gone. So it makes you start thinking. So folks, whoever's watching this video, think for yourself a little bit. Be smart. Your body is just wonderful. God made a wonderful, wonderful organism here. And let's treat it right. And if we do that, everything will be fine. And before I say anything else, I just say I give God the glory for my healing and things that are going on in my life.